everyone, and welcome to special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Media Giant Effect with Growing Older with Enthusiasms podcast with Dr. Ron Kaiser. Dr. Ron, how are you? The comments that we're getting about the show, about growing older with enthusiasm, and really what we're seeing with older adults, how they need specific things. And this is what the show brings, is information to them that they can help move forward to grow older with enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'm obviously enthusiastic about the aging process and glad to see that so many other people are. Glad that we're able to bring that notion to so many people and have some wonderful guests to help them do so. And today we've got another great guest to add to our lineup. Aparna Pujar is founder and CEO of Zemplee. And while that may not be a household name at the moment, it's a terrific concept. And so, Aparna, first of all, welcome to the Growing Older with Enthusiasm podcast.
Thank you all, and thank you, you both, for allowing me to be on this host. I'm really excited about the content here and what you're doing, especially helping in turning attention to the process of aging, which actually, contrary to what many people think, is fun. And it sort of goes back to my own need. So I am the founder and CEO of Zemplee. Zemplee is a technology company. And I started Zemplee because I became a remote caregiver for my aging parents. I live here in California. My parents live in India. And being a remote caregiver was an order of magnitude complicated for me. And the issue was really, how do I become a better caregiver for my parents and maintain a fantastic sort of relationship with them as they were aging and be part of their life in a way that was non-intrusive. And what Zemplee is, in today's world, we know these facts. More than 10,000 people turn 65 every day, and that number is exploding. And what we're seeing is, people are choosing to stay in their homes and defer institutional care. And really, that was the challenge my parents put on me, saying, I don't want to move into an institutional care. I want to live in my own home as long as I can. But then we realized that the homes that they're staying in today are not designed for enabling care, because as you age, you're sort of starting that path to I don't want to call it deterioration, but clinically it's called deterioration. But different things are happening to you as you age, and one of the things that we actually were as a community, as a society, have to learn is to get ahead of that, right? So how can we stay on top of that and take proactive measures to continue to what we call as age in place. And for Zemplee, aging in place has two metaphorical meaning: aging in place physically, as in where you're living, and aging in place metaphorically, aging in place biologically, where you're continuing to sustain at the biological capability that you have. And a lot of that comes from lifestyle changes, behavior changes, and what you're doing. What are you eating? How are you hydrating enough? And taking care and staying on ahead of your health needs, essentially. And as a remote caregiver, I noticed that the clinical world sort of is at a point where they're looking at acute. You only go to a doctor when things go wrong, but there are a million things that can happen before things go wrong. And Zemplee's intention, therefore, was to how to capture those millions of things so that we can prevent those acute situations from happening. And what we do actually is we create what we call as a meta environment in a home. Zemplee uses sensors that get placed into elderly people's homes, and they're not. We don't use a video. We don't use a wearable. And what these sensors are doing is just collecting simple movement data from people as they're going about their daily lives. So what we call them as lifestyle integrated. So the nice thing about that is we don't have to change or make the elderly people change or learn new technology. And honestly, the way technology is proliferating in our world today, the learning curve starts becoming steep, and we tend to get used to some things, but there's also anxiety about learning new technology products. So these sensors are collecting data. The data is going into a cloud application, and then there is an AI algorithm that is kind of making sense of this data. So what it does is, does pattern detection mostly, and uses that as a framework then to start detecting, deviations from a set pattern. So for example, we know that people get up at 6 a.m. and then by 6:15 they're in the living room and there's expected to be having their coffee or reading a newspaper or what have you. And then then there's a pattern that sets in. They're eating at certain times, they're taking their meds on certain time, they go to bed at certain time. So what the system is doing is kind of looking at these patterns and then establishing a model. And then when there are deviations from that model, it starts kind of getting into a supervision mode and saying then alerts, right, when it gets into. So typical examples of what we do, when we see someone get up from the bed, we're tracking to make sure that they make a successful round trip to the bathroom and back, or they're making a round trip to the kitchen and back, or going sitting in the living room. So we're just trying to kind of create this map of their lifestyle and use that as a guideline to see, whether they're on track or off track. And every time they're off track, someone gets alerted. We can go alerts family members, alerts when it's clinical. It can also alert a clinical team, and then the triaging starts so that you can intervene in the right time. So that's how
And
the system works.
just so we don't get too far ahead of ourselves, I want to just understand, is it a product then that you market to individuals, or is it done in situations where there's a physician who's associated with it, or how does somebody begin to use your product?
So our product actually works both within an institutional care setting and also a home care setting. And we actually partner with institutional care providers, which is retirement communities or assisted living facilities, and also with home care agencies. So and then they deploy the product into people's homes or living or facilities. We also work with physicians, and we do have a module where a clinical version of a product can get deployed into people's homes through physicians, and then that one's actually tracking some vitals. So our product actually can include remote patient monitoring as a feature, and it allows a doctor to monitor people for their health conditions.
And I believe that if I'm not mistaken, then you were able to monitor from the United States into India or some other country, or is there somebody local that kind of franchises, or how's it happen? Is it all one central location?
Yeah, so Zemplee is based in California, and we actually we offer our product only in the United States at this point of time, and so we are available nationwide, so we can work with facilities or home care agencies that are in all around the country, and we usually partner with them to have the product installed, because a large part of the offering also this model allows you to also bundle caregivers as part of the product. So we tend to partner with them, so both the home care agencies and the assisted living facilities can then leverage this as a technology and a tool to help caregivers do their jobs.
And how hard is it technologically for the user? Does it require some kind of installation or something?
Yes. So because we are a sensor kit, it does require the sensors to be installed at home, but the sensors are fairly simple to install. We send a pre-programmed kit that has all the instructions in it, and typically the installation means you just take out a central hub out of the box, plug it into an electrical outlet, and then use the sensors. We give you a guideline of where to place the sensors. They come labeled with, here's a sensor for the bedroom, here's a sensor for the bathroom. And then you just peel and stick those sensors and place them on walls. Typically, a family member can easily install it, or a caregiver can easily install it. And if someone needs assistance with the installation, we have the ability to send someone to do the installs as well.
So I have a question regarding usability for the person that's being cared for. what do you feel? You said they're understanding the technology and different things. What types of older adults is it really work for? What, like, is at one point when they get bedridden to a level that you really can't monitor care?
We have our system currently is being used by people from age 65 all the way to 103. So we essentially want people to start early on the system because it's an artificial intelligence based system. So the more data it has, the more tenure it has on the person, the better it is at predicting patterns and predicting behavior abnormalities or normalities. No sweet spot is when you're 75, 75 all the way up to 103. So we work across people who are in hospice all the way, hospice, palliative care, skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities, anyone who has conditions that require some sort of monitoring, and whether it's people based or technology based.
And I guess I'm wondering, from my perspective, in the older adult world, a lot of people don't necessarily have schedules. And I'm just wondering, if somebody decides to sleep in for a couple of hours more, do, do they let you know in advance? Or, is it just, kind of figured that, hey, once in a while we're gonna check on you and you don't need to be checked on? Or, what happens, or if we want to skip lunch, what, it sounds like it must work very well for the general routine, but I'm wondering just what happens if there's a deviation from the routine that isn't uh, a medical problem. I mean, is it just kind of assumed that those things will happen and we'd rather make that mistake, or what, and contact them, or how's that dealt with? It sounds like a dumber question than I thought it was inside my head, but I hope you understand what I'm asking.
No, that is actually a great question and a beautiful question. Of course, the intention of our technology is not to fit you into a regiment, right? So we're not saying that you have to get up at this hour, which is why the AI has that capability to understand the nuances of your daily lifestyle. So we don't. So typically, we don't ask you to change your behavior. So you continue to do what you're doing, right? What the system is doing is trying to follow you to make sure you're not getting into some kind of an adverse condition. So common patterns, like, say, like you said, you decided to take a nap. The system is fine, you're taking a nap. I know you're taking a nap, but let's say you end up sitting on a couch and you're watching TV and you snoozed, decided to sleep. What it does do is say, hey, it's been 5 hours now. Mr. Ron hasn't gotten up from the chair. Let me try and see what's going on. And then it's going to intervene and try and, contact someone to see if you're okay. So the system sort of, reacts to exceptions, not to the norms. So as long as you're going about doing your daily things, the system knows that, you're doing fine. The minute something goes askew, that's when it starts saying, it starts recognizing that such a situation needs attention. In many ways, it is like having someone in your home who's observing you, right? Like making sure that when you get up, you're safely walking to the bathroom and coming back, or taking your meds on time, or you're dying, and then you don't. It's reminding you to do it, and that's all. That's how the system works, actually. So really, most of the people who use our system, they've never had to change their lifestyle. No, we try to encourage them to follow certain critical things, like don't forget your meds, like take your meds on time, right? But it's possible that you have some issues with your GI tract today and you decide not to eat, and says fine, but if you don't eat for 7 full days, it's going to come back and say, wow, this is not okay, right? So that's how the system works.
Okay. The only other question I have, and I really appreciate this really detailed explanation, but if whether somebody's an individual or somebody's an institution or an organization, how do they find you? Where do they find out more about what you do and how the system works and so on?
The best way to reach out to us is to go to our website. It's www.zemplee.com, and you can either contact us through a form that's out there or reach out to us via chatbot. The website also has information to contact any our team members for different regions as well. We also do attend events. We attend events at local communities where people could reach out to us. And normally, when you reach out to us, we do go through. We schedule you for a demo. We show you the product, and we show you the merits of what the product can do, and then we help you. Then we help you with the onboarding or the rollout.
Wow. Such great information, Dr. Ron. Congrats on the success so far of Zemplee and how you're helping the older adult community. And Dr. Ron is not a perfect guest for growing older with enthusiasm.
Yeah, absolutely. I really can see, a lot of people being interested in seeing how this goes, because as you said right at the beginning, just aging in place, which again is the physical and psychological concept, are more and more there are more and more older adults, more and more of them want to retain their independence, and we now have the science to enable many of them to live a high quality of life. But it's very important that, especially if they're living independently, that we be able to at least recognize and have ways of accommodating to it in a way that kids don't have to worry about them. Others feel that they all kinds of appropriate measures are being taken place. So it really fills in a gap in this older adult, what I call a rejuvenating process.
Definitely. Well, we appreciate it. You really are helping both of you guys, the older adult community, grow older with enthusiasm and become, continue to thrive in life. And that's what we want, for sure. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Zemplee is here to help. We believe in enabling the elders to get their independence and get their quality of life. And we would be happy to help anyone who opts to do that. Again, thank you both for giving me the opportunity to be on this show. And for more information about Zemplee, go to www.zemplee.com.
All right. That was Growing Older with Enthusiasm and the Neil Haley Show, guys. Take care.